Hello and welcome, everybody. I'm so excited to share and present our workshop on demand, traveling in epilepsy. Today, we're going to explore a little exploring together and how we can start to take better care of ourselves so that we can lead stress-free and hopefully seizure-free lives. Without further ado, let's get started. To get us started, I first wanted to introduce myself. My name is Abigail Weidel, or Abby, and I am the program lead in peer support for young adults with epilepsy. Each month, we put on a workshop or a bit of a structured discussion relating to a specific topic and being a young adult with epilepsy. Despite having been diagnosed when I was essentially a tween, navigating adult life with epilepsy comes with its own unique challenges. And through connecting with others with epilepsy and gaining new perspective, life feels a little bit easier. And so I hope I can share that experience with you and make it a little bit easier on you. So, who are we? What is Young Adults with Epilepsy? Our group is a nonprofit founded in 2023, and we are committed to making sure that young adults, specifically with epilepsy, don't fall through the cracks. You'll see a lot of content made for um, children with epilepsy or seniors with epilepsy, and typically in research and going to your neurologist, it's just not a group that is typically focused on. So that's what we are here for. So in our workshops, one of the most important things to do is maintain a space where people can feel comfortable to share their feelings, experiences, and ideas. Here are our set of guidelines that we have in place to make sure that that happens. First things first, this is supposed to be a safe space free of judgment for everyone to share their experiences and feelings. Second, that we ask that everyone respects each speaker. Everyone's input is equally valued. Everybody is coming from a different perspective, a different place, a different part of life. Third, no group member is ever required to answer any question, to participate in any activity, or to tell anything. If you don't want to speak, feel free to pass. Often, what we'll see in our workshops and in our peer support groups is that people will join and they'll keep their cameras off and they'll keep their mics off. They'll join and they'll listen. That is perfectly okay, and I would recommend it to anyone who needs to do it. And last but certainly not least, everything that is said in our workshops and our calls is confidential. What you choose to share will not be shared outside the call. Uh, and then after we discuss our guidelines, I typically go into our structure and what it kind of looks like to be participating in this workshop. Um, After we go through our guidelines, we dip into our topics for the month one by one to discuss our impressions and experiences, the sharing of ideas, and having a space to vent and ramble is so important, and that'll take up the bulk of the call. After we share our story and experiences, then we go into a group reflection, talk about something we took away from the workshop, and then we'll wrap it up so everybody can enjoy the rest of their day. So this past workshop, I asked everyone where they have traveled to, both cities and countries. We have some places all over Europe, within the US, and surrounding countries of the United States and Mexico. So what the point of this exercise was to get people feeling out what really like travel meant to them and how far they have traveled and how much that of an accomplishment that can be. That despite any potential difficulties, they went and they did it and they got out there. And I really wanted to start off this workshop after the icebreaker by really defining what travel means. And so, for the purposes of this workshop, travel and traveling can mean going from your location to as far as another country and as close as neighboring cities. Regardless of the distance traveled, there's always going to exist some limitations and risks that make it difficult for us to travel. And these can be physiological, these can be geographical, emotional in terms of stress, and cultural. And after that, we go into traveling within the United States specifically. And we go into the United States because it is just such a big place, but it really prioritizes planes and cars. So the act of flying and driving intersect with many people's lives almost on a daily basis. Although some larger cities have modern and efficient public transportation systems, many do not. Most don't, really, aside from the really big metropolitan hubs. So this places considerable responsibility on the individual, on you, to manage your own transportation needs, which is why it's so important that we build support systems if you don't have a license like me, or thinking of stuff like traveling expenses and housing. So, in our workshop, these are the three main topics of conversation that we had. First, we dove into preparation practices, both emotional and physical, amongst participants, really going into addressing how to make the trip feel as stress-free as possible. After that, we went into our thoughts about traveling by ourselves, and then we finished our discussion by talking about others' perceptions on traveling with epilepsy. This topic may not really apply to everyone, but it opens up the space for things we can do to make sure everyone is confident about their trip, from medical IDs to medication prep. And that's about the end of our workshop. Once we go around sharing what we can take away from the discussion, in this particular case, that trains are the superior method of travel for people with epilepsy, we share how we can stay connected. Whether that's joining another workshop to our peer support group, we want to hear back from you and make sure you are feeling heard and have a space to be and exist. Thank you for walking through our travel and epilepsy workshop with me. I hope you have a great rest of your day.